maybe.
Every year my family takes a trip down to a beach for a summer vacation. I think out of the 26 years that I've been alive and doing this, only like 4 times have they decided to go somewhere else besides the Outer Banks. But this year they're kind of changing it up a little bit and going to South Carolina, even though that's basically the exact same thing. Right, so the spot they chose for this trip is Murrells, Inlet, South Carolina, which is about an hour south of Myrtle. And when you think of Myrtle, you kind of think of like high rises and boardwalk and shopping and commercialization and all that crap. The place that we're staying is more of like houses and, you know, that's about it. I mean, you have none of the shopping and lights and high rises that you see in Myrtle Beach. It's literally just houses that are on the beach and not much more. I think the biggest dilemma that we had on this trip was whether to drive down or to fly down. I was lucky enough to bring my girlfriend Haley with me, so there would have been 2 of us traveling, and it would have been about a 5-hour flight, give or take, depending on how long the layovers are, and it would have been an 18-hour drive. After weighing out some of the pros and cons of both, we decided to go with the drive. The reason for that is that we would drive through states that we had never ever been to before, might not go through again, but we thought that it'd be worth it just to drive through those states and see them. The route that we took us down through the bottom of Wisconsin into Illinois and over past Chicago. We had to leave at 4 in the morning just to avoid the Chicago traffic. After we got through Chicago, we went over to Indiana, down through the entire state, past Indianapolis, past Louisville, into Kentucky, over past Lexington, and finally where we stayed the night was in Knoxville, Tennessee. No offense if you live in Indiana or are from there, but our Route 65, I think it was, is possibly the most boring road I've ever been on. Literally the highlight of it was this incredible wind farm that we drove through that was like 15 miles long. After we got through Indiana into Kentucky, it was the exact opposite. There were just beautiful rolling hills and horse farms all over the place. It was incredible. On the trip home, we actually stopped at a distillery in Kentucky, our favorite one, Woodford Reserve. Unfortunately, they were all booked up on tours and tastings and all the actual fun stuff, so we just stopped and saw the grounds a little bit and bought some stuff from the gift shop. Hands down though, one of the most annoying things about this trip to Woodford was the fact that the whiskey was more expensive. You would think that saving on shipping and, I don't know, whatever else it costs to sell whiskey in another state would make it cheaper, but it was like $8 more expensive. It was still one of our most favorite parts of the trip. Definitely if you're ever in Kentucky or around the area, take the time to visit one of these distilleries. Woodford's really cool, would definitely suggest it, but just go to any of them. Spending the night in Knoxville, we weren't really sure what to expect. You hear about Nashville and, you know, it's like a party town. It's like literally the bridesmaid capital of the world. Oh, sorry, bridal party. Is it? No. Bachelorette party. That's it. We thought Knoxville was actually really nice. We stayed in a hotel that was a few minutes away from this Market Square place, I think it was called. And we had dinner there. There were a bunch of people singing and playing instruments and kids dancing. It was just a really good vibe. Staying overnight, it was the perfect place, I think, to go. After we drove 12 hours the first day, we got up, and on the second day we only had about a 6-hour drive, so that wasn't too bad. We went out of Tennessee, through a little bit of North Carolina, and then we had to go pretty much through the entire state of South Carolina, east to west. Or west to east? West to east. After that, we finally got to the beach. 18 hours of travel and 2 days split up, but it was worth it. We were staying in this beautiful oceanfront house. I finally got to see my parents and sister after not seeing them for a few months. Got to see my aunt, cousins, and their 2-year-old baby. You know, full disclosure, I didn't know how going to the beach with a 2-year-old was gonna be, but Levi, my cousin's kid, was amazing. This little kid had the most energy I've ever seen. He would literally just run back and forth for hours at a time and have an absolute ball. Figures that the tiniest person in the house had the most energy. Cheese! The house we were staying at was beautiful. It was oceanfront, had a huge pool that we could chill in. And, you know, that's pretty much what we did all week, was just hang out down at the beach, go back to the pool, swim a little bit, and the biggest thing we were worried about was it was supposed to rain every single day.
You gotta put more sunblock on.
Why?
UV index of 10.
10?
We lucked out, and I think it only rained 1 or 2 days, really. If you're familiar with the Outer Banks, you know that there is the ocean, the island itself, and then there's the Sound, which is a body of water in between the Outer Banks and the mainland. And Murrells Inlet has kind of the same thing. It's called a salt marsh. One of the days during the week, we took out kayaks and rented a tour and went through the salt marsh. That was probably the most adventurous thing we did the entire week. Apparently there's alligators and stuff that can go into the salt marsh, although we didn't get the chance to see any, unfortunately. Most of the stuff that we saw on our tour were birds and fish and oysters and stuff like that. Pretty cool, but not as cool as an alligator. It was a cool experience. I'd definitely do it again. You know, besides that, we didn't really do much of anything else, but I don't think that's a bad thing, really. You know, a family vacation, in my opinion, is best spent just hanging out with your family. That's just exactly what we did, though, for the entire week, was hang out, just catch up and have a good time.
I found my way, I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way, I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way.
Thank you, though, to my mother and sister who spent the time to find this house, and whoever else helped out. I just know they did. It was absolutely perfect when we couldn't have asked for a better place. Thank you to my family for inviting us on this trip. Haley and I had an amazing time, and we'd definitely do it again. Especially thank you to Haley for putting up with my ass for 18 hours in a car and not killing me. That's about it for this trip, though. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you later.